Hi, I'm Erin. This is my friend Carrie. Thank you so much for joining us today for a tutorial on shoulder stand and headstand. So we're going to start today with shoulder stand. Shoulder stand is often included as an inversion in a yoga practice, and it's a great posture if you have a healthy neck and upper back. If you don't, it might be a posture that you take out of your practice. That said, there is a way to practice it safely for your neck, and I'm going to teach you how to do that today. So the first thing I'll just tell you is when you go into shoulder stand and you practice this posture, it's imperative that you do not move your head around. So if you're in a class and a teacher's cueing you or talking to you, please don't move your head side to side or look around, but keep your head neutral and your gaze straight up to your toes. So I'm going to go ahead and have Carrie lay down on her back here and just bring her head on this side. So we're going to come first. The other thing that I'm going to tell you first and then show you is in shoulder stand, you're going to want basically upside down chaturanga arms. So it's really important that you keep your elbows in as you come up into shoulder stand. So Carrie's first going to draw her knees into her chest. And then from here, you just find a little bit of momentum and you're going to rock your hips off the floor and take your hands to your low back, palms or fingers point up. Perfect. Good. So this is a great place to start right where Carrie is. You're going to want to have these elbows drawn in. It's great. That's great where you are. Okay, so you don't want the elbows to splay off to the side as you come into the posture. And from your little ball, with the knees pulled tightly in and the core tightly engaged, you're going to start to slowly extend your feet straight up toward the ceiling. Good, really nice. And just like Carrie's doing here, once you're up, you can make a couple little more adjustments so that your hands are right underneath your hips, your elbows are drawing in line with the shoulders. And then Carrie's not moving her head, and you'll hear the cue often that you want your chest coming toward your chin, but your chin coming away from your chest so that your neck is nice and long and the back of your head is flat to the floor. So she has a great position here. So as we engage the core and lift up through the toes, we're eventually working our feet so they're right up over our hips. Good adjustment. It takes a lot of strength, and it's okay if your feet are drawing a little bit closer toward the front of the mat. But eventually, as we draw those toes up, we draw the feet right in line with the hips. So we're nice and tall. And again, as you continue to hold the pose and practice the pose, you can just keep lifting those hips even higher. Good, so just slowly go ahead and make your way. Yes, exactly, beautiful, beautiful adjustment. Good. And then we'll come down from it nice and slow. So pull the knees in toward the head, and then just one vertebra at a time, we slowly lower down onto our back. Beautiful. Good. And I'm not going to go into this posture in this tutorial, but a nice counter pose for shoulder stand is fish pose. So just go ahead and extend the legs long. Again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this pose, but Carrie's just going to prop herself up onto her elbows. Beautiful fish. Relax the crown of the head. See how it opens up the throat and the chest. Again, it's a beautiful counter pose for shoulder stand. So go ahead and come on back down. Very nice. So come up to a seat. All right, we're going to cover headstand now. So we did another tutorial on tripod headstand. You can check that out at your leisure. This tutorial is on traditional yoga headstand. The difference between the two is in tripod headstand, we're on our hands. In this headstand, we're on our forearms. Okay, and it's not forearm balance, this is headstand on our forearms. So I personally feel that this version of headstand is safer for your neck. Tripod headstand, of course, has a place, but this is nice because when your forearms are on the floor, you have the ability to really press into the forearms, take a lot of pressure out of your neck and off the crown of your head. So I highly encourage you to practice this headstand and learn it. It's a great one to add to your practice. So we're going to start by getting our arms and hands into position. So the first thing you want to do before you practice headstand is to find the place on your head that you want on the floor. So it is not the actual very, very top of your head. Instead, it's a little bit further forward. A great way to find this spot is to take your hand, look at the base of the palm of your hand. So right here, kind of at your crease, and you place it right here at the tip of your nose. And then from here, you're gonna reach your middle finger straight up. You're gonna press that part of your head with your middle finger and just kind of press it so you remember where it is, so you can just create kind of a little memory. And so this is the place, again, you'll see here that is touching the floor. It's not up here, okay? Really important. Okay, and then we're going to be coming onto our forearms. We're going to be making a triangle out of our forearms. So on the floor, your arms are going to look like this, okay? And so we want the elbows at a very specific position. So to find that position, I'm going to have Carrie face this way on her mat, and you can do it on the floor. So coming down onto your forearms, just come down onto your forearms. Good. You want your elbows right at shoulder distance apart before you make your triangle. So from here, you're just going to take your hands and reach toward opposite elbow. Perfect. So her forearms are now parallel with the front of her mat. Great. Now keep the elbows right where they are and then make a triangle with the arms. You're going to interlace the fingers and then press the forearms down onto the floor. Okay, now remember your little spot on the top of your head and then place that spot right between your hands. Good. So you can see the very, very top of Carrie's head is actually cupped with her hands. It's not on, you're not holding the back of your head. So this is a very important thing to know about headstand. Now with the base of her thumbs, she's really going to squeeze into her skull and get a nice grip. Okay, we're going to come up into headstand from a little ball first. So Carrie's going to start to, you can lift your knees off the floor and start to walk your feet forward and then come into a ball, bringing the knees in and the heels toward the hips. Beautiful. So she's in a little ball here, nice and stable. And then she's going to very slowly press her feet straight up toward the ceiling. Good. And once she's up here and she's stable, I can already feel her adjusting. She's going to want to draw the heels right over the hips. Beautiful, Carrie. That looks awesome. She's going to stay really active here in the feet, so you don't want the feet just hanging out. Core is nice and engaged. Now she's pressing into the forearms. Good. I can see her shoulders engaging to lift and take the pressure off the back of her neck. So she's going to come down in the same way. She's going to come into a little ball first. And what's really nice about coming in and out of headstand this way is the control you have when you're in that little ball, and then she'll come back down, tucking the toes under and releasing into child's pose. So just like we did in shoulder stand, it's nice to take a counter pose to the pose. Okay, so there is pressure on the neck when you're upside down in a headstand, so this is a nice release for the back of the head, or sorry, the back of the neck and the upper back and shoulders. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come into headstand from a straddle position, not a straddle position, a split kick up position. Now I want to emphasize that this isn't a kick up like we're doing handstand, but instead it's a press up into a split position. So Carrie's going to do the same thing here with her arms and her head. She's going to place her head back onto the mat and then come into basically a downward dog position in her legs. So her hips are high, her heels are lifted. She's going to start to walk her feet in, 1, 2, 3. And what Carrie's going to do first is show you basically the incorrect way to get into it. So she's just going to show you a couple kicks. So kick. Okay, good, good. Okay, so Carrie actually has pretty good control in that. But what I want to emphasize is if you don't have the control in the core to start to press the legs up, I recommend that you come up from a ball position instead of a kicking position, because if you're kicking really hard and you're falling up and over, this is very dangerous for the neck. So instead, she's going to press her feet up from a split position. All right, so let's do it again. Your little kicks actually looked really nice and controlled. Not bad, but we're gonna take it nice and slow this time, okay? So she's gonna extend up as if she's doing a split, and then she's gonna start to beautiful, slowly lift the opposite foot off the floor. Very nice, Carrie. Good, so you can see the difference. She comes from that split position and then starts to draw the opposite foot slowly off the floor. And we're gonna come down in the same way, so nice and slow and controlled. She's gonna beautiful tuck that toe under and then descend the other leg, release knees to the floor, and extended child's pose. Good. So hopefully you could kind of see that difference. I just really want to emphasize that until you have that control from a split position, I do recommend coming into it from a ball position, because then if you lose your balance on the way, you can just kind of roll over versus flopping the legs up and over and doing any harm or damage to your neck. All right, thanks, Carrie. Come on up to a seat. Thank you so much for joining us for this tutorial. Have a great day. Namaste.